Hello, everyone. We've waited a long time for this day. I'm so very excited. Welcome. It is the Our Turf Football Podcast. I am Dayna O'Gorman, Dayna OG for short. I get that question a lot now, which is interesting. Yes, O'Gorman is my last name, but I go with Dayna OG because O'Gorman's hard to spell. Welcome back to the Our Turf Football Podcast. As you can see, the four ladies of Our Turf Football are here with me. We have Sonja, we have Lisa, and we have Kate. I know we're Brady Bunching it today. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are so glad that you came back with us to hang out and be with us. So let's give a little backstory here, shall we? So interestingly enough, we started this podcast. Lisa, I was trying to think. How
10
far
years?
back?
10? Has it been 10?
Well, I started writing, yes, because this is Russell Wilson's 10th season. No, I didn't start writing because of Russell Wilson. Don't give me that crap, people. I was hired to write for NFL Female, which we all wrote for NFL Female.
Yeah.
Clear back in the day. We've been doing this forever. And it was before the draft. So I didn't even know who Russell Wilson was because you guys know me. I don't watch college football. I don't know what the heck am I supposed to watch that stuff. So anyway,
quarterbacks either.
No,
but yet she's talking about one tonight. I'm so impressed.
Anyway, we started this podcast years and years and years ago. We have had some great people do it with us. Lisa and I have done it together. We had our great friend Michelle Jinks did it for years with us. Claire Mullins, you guys remember Claire? I wonder what happened to Claire. Claire did this. Claire and I did it together. Clear back on what was it, Blog Talk Radio?
I was thinking about Blog Talk the other day.
Anyway, we took a break. We just took a minute and we decided that it was time to come back. And we wanted to share, I mean, you guys know our personalities by now, but faces change a lot of things at this point. So, ladies, I'm so glad you're back. I'm so happy that we're all here together. I think it is going to be such a great show. And we are going to be here every Tuesday. I want to make sure you all know that Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Please subscribe to our YouTube, hit the notification bell. Then you know exactly when we go live every single week. All right. One by one. Ladies, how are you? Are you ready for football? Sonja?
Yes.
Right?
Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
No, I'm not thinking about it at all. You see, I got my jersey, my number 4 jersey. Jason Hanson, best kicker ever. Yeah, I'm ready for football.
Oh my God. We're talking about kickers. You know it's been a while. We're talking about kickers.
I may have to unfollow you on Twitter. Who owns a kicker's jersey?
Seriously.
I own one.
I honestly going to tell you, I get 10%. 10% of the league have, maybe 5.
Somebody has a Vinatieri jersey. You know that.
Oh,
you know that.
I will tell you.
I bet he'll hit like his 30th year in the league.
Yeah, that's fair. So over time, he's got a good chance of having some jerseys.
Yes. Now I'm going to have to look up jersey sales for him.
Yeah, you're going to have to because
damn. Topic for next week.
There we go.
Position because I'm going to go with quarterback as the number 1 selling jerseys.
Of course. Really? No question.
Just makes me nauseous is what it does. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the show because we don't want to keep these people all night because if you put the 4 of us in a room, we'll talk football for
all night.
So we don't want to keep you guys for that long.
Literally all night.
All night.
Once. But so here's the thing. We're going to start with kind of some of the bigger off-season stories. I think that, a lot of these have been talked about, but I want to kind of get your guys' opinion on everything. So let's go ahead. Kate, I know that you were going to start with what you thought was probably your 5 biggest moves this off-season.
Yeah, 4 of them were trades, and 1 of them was just a free agent signing. That's probably huge to me because I'm a homer. Here in Cleveland. But since we're talking about quarterbacks, 2 of the biggest, 2 of the biggest things in the offseason that happened was that Carson Wentz, the Eagles traded him to the Colts. Now that Jacoby Brissett's he's down in Florida with you in the Lisa.
He is.
Backing up Tua.
Yep.
So Carson will be taking over things for the Colts. And then I guess the Jets have finally just decided that the Sam Darnold experiment wasn't working. and traded him to the Panthers for a whole bunch of draft picks. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in those divisions and how those guys shake out this year and stand up against the other quarterbacks that they'll be competing against. I thought the Chiefs' deal with the Ravens to acquire offensive tackle Orlando Brown was really interesting because if there's anything they need to do for Pat Mahomes, it's keep him protected. And while Orlando is not, I would say he's not in the prime of his career, he's still very smart and very effective. And so that'll be a nice addition to their offensive line. I was shocked that the Atlanta Falcons agreed to trade Julio Jones to the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are so close to, really getting into the AFC Championship and getting their way to the Super Bowl. And Julio may just be that last weapon that they need to get there. And then the last one that, again, is my homer pick was the free agency signing of Jadeveon Clowney with the Cleveland Browns. And for a lot of reasons. I think first and foremost, the fact that a high talent, high value free agent agreed to come to Cleveland, even if it's on a 1-year deal, and they didn't have to overpay for him, sort of speaks to the culture and the things that are changing here in Cleveland. It'll be interesting to see how he actually plays on the field because he likes to rush the quarterback, and the Browns already have Myles Garrett to do that. So is there going to be a little competition, or is he willing, because he is very effective at stopping the run, is he going to be willing to let Myles go after the sacks, and he's going to do what the team needs done to stop the running game this year? So that'll be an interesting storyline to kind of keep an eye on as the season progresses.
Lisa, of those 5, which one surprised you the most?
Well, the one that I'll want to comment on was basically like Kate was talking about with the Jets and the quarterback carousel that caused, actually. Because one of the things that I've kind of been talking about to several people is Teddy Bridgewater. Because as you know, with Darnold going to Panthers, Bridgewater goes to the Broncos. And I kind of feel like Teddy Bridgewater is almost the Tyrod Taylor now, because it seems like he's like, okay, well, we'll see how he does. He can't seem to find a home. I mean, he puts up good stats, good numbers, but then like next season, are the Broncos going to be looking for another quarterback? And then so I'm almost kind of feeling like Bridgewater's becoming the Tyrod Taylor of the Tyrod, right? Is it Tyrod?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I think I'm trying to say it too fast.
He says Tyrod. If you ask him, he'll say
that's right.
Tyrod.
You're absolutely right. Tyrod.
Yeah. So Teddy started in Minnesota, right? And he had some really good games, got off to a really good rookie start. And then as defenses got film on him, his productivity suffered. And I don't know that he's had the right offensive coordinator in any of the places that he's been to really take advantage of what he's doing, to mix things up enough to make him effective. I think he'll do well for a few weeks. And then again, the defenses will get his number, and he just hasn't found the right fit. And it's sad because he is super talented. And I think if you could find, and I don't know that Denver's the right home for him either. I don't have a lot of faith in the coaching staff in Denver to think that they're going to be the ones that finally create, a scheme around what he's good at.
Well, and the thing with Bridgewater is that, he had that god-awful injury, and he was gone for a whole year. Yeah. And I feel like that just stalled. I mean, of course, the injury stalled his momentum.
Right.
Terrible way to put it. But you know what I'm saying? But just his progression, and then the way teams saw him, and he was disposable. And I think that you're right. I think that I don't know that Denver's the right place for him either. I have to say, I was looking at your 5, and I was thinking, there was money in the cap. They could move it around, these teams. Except for the Chiefs. Someone want to tell me how the hell the Chiefs have an unlimited dollar amount? I swear to God. I mean, Patrick Mahomes got his new contract last year and has already redone it for this team. And it's like, the business side of me is like, I don't know if that's such a good idea, Pumpkin. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know if that was so good. But for God's sake, it's like, I don't know. It just seems like
he bought a baseball team. That's his retirement fund. He bought himself. He brought into a baseball team.
He did. He bought into the Royals, the Kansas City Royals. He sure did. So, Sonja, I think you and I have discussed this a little bit before, but Sam Darnold, I'm excited to see what he can do in his home. No, you're not. You're like,
I'm not.
She's seeing ghosts.
But I'm not seeing ghosts. He might be, but
He might be.
I think he might be. He might be. I mean, now granted, he's had flashes of brilliance. He's been good in some cases not so much. And so I wonder how he's going to fare against some of the tougher defenses in the NFC South. I mean, they've got some pretty good ones down there. And so I think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be as peachy keen. I could be wrong. I really could be. But I see him having a little bit of a hard time down there in North Carolina. I just do. Just me.
I just think he can't stay away from Tom Brady. He wants to play him twice a year. He finally gets rid of him and then he moves.
He's like, I need Tom.
I'm gonna follow Tom around so he can beat up on me twice a year.
Oh my
There you
Lord.
go.
I didn't even put that together. You might not be wrong. All right. So let's move on to the next subject, which kind of ties into all of this. And I wanted to talk about a couple of stories. Drama is all I have to say about this with the quarterbacks. Yes, I'm going to talk about quarterbacks. Makes me nauseous. So here's the thing. Earlier in the season, right? So earlier in the season, there, right after the Super Bowl, or actually during the Super Bowl, we see the camera pan up to a suite. And what do we see? Roger Goodell, a pissed off, pouting Russell Wilson, and Sierra chatting away like Sierra does, right? Because she's adorable. And Russell Wilson was seething, right? Just pissed. And you know why he was pissed? Because he wanted to play in this game. So then that just stirred up all these rumors and all these things were going on. And the next thing we know, Russell Wilson is leaving. He's only going to go to 4 games. The team is going to eat $35 million of his cap to get rid of, like, the most ridiculous things I've ever heard. But it had a little meat to it, right? And it got worse because Russell didn't say a damn word. Nothing.
His agent did, though.
So his agent, Mark Rogers, has one NFL client, one client total. It's Russell Wilson. So I'm like, dude, you don't know how to play this game. That was just like a complete screw up, whatever. That's okay. We'll figure that out. So anyway, it kind of started to die down. Those poor Bears fans, man, they really
thought he was coming. They thought he was coming.
They thought for sure he was coming.
So you stop.
For him.
Sorry.
Not nice to pick on Bears fans.
It was sad. I admit it was so sad. But ended up, it kind of, the hush, quieted down. Russell started practicing with his team. It all went away. The minute all that starts to calm down, what happens? Well, Aaron Rodgers can't be outdone. And so Aaron Rodgers.
And not by Russell Wilson, daggone it.
No.
Well, on the field, maybe.
And so all of a sudden, we have a pissed off Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Now, people were shocked at Russell Wilson because Russell Wilson never says a word against his team, never says a word out of turn, right? He's a PR's dream, traditionally. Aaron Rodgers, he's mad all the time. So at first, I don't think anyone really thought about it. And then it just kept getting bigger and bigger. And we had to remember, he already got one coach fired. Was he bucking to get another one? And last year, they drafted a quarterback in the first round because he had such a crappy 19. And then he turns around, has an MVP season because he's mad. Here is the difference between these two stories. One went away until at least the beginning of next offseason. This one with Aaron Rodgers is not really going away. He did not show up for OTAs. Russell Wilson showed up for OTAs. He did not address the media. Russell Wilson talked to the media. And Aaron Rodgers then goes on national television to hype up this golf game, which I'm sure to golf people is very exciting to have Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and two golf dudes. I have no idea who they are going out and doing it. I had no idea. I'm sorry. And I know my friend Brian is going to kill me because I don't know these things. And he has a shirt that he's pissed off. Tom Brady is snarky as shit and he agrees with him. Like, it's ugly. So here's my thoughts. These are Dayna's thoughts.
Oh, I got to get pen. Go ahead.
There's two things here happening. Russell Wilson, like I said, is a PR dream. And I'm not being a homer here because I don't like quarterbacks, right? What?
One thing?
No, that's your first thing.
I got
you counting your things.
Anyway, Russell Wilson, he's his dream, right? And he's in the community. He's building a school. He's doing this. He works, here, there, and everywhere. He owns part of the Sounders in Seattle. He's doing this, that, and the other. There just wasn't a lot. People who don't like Russell Wilson don't like him because they think he's cheesy. I get it. But it's not that he's very easy to dislike. Aaron Rodgers is real easy to dislike. And if you don't live if you don't live in Green Bay, a lot of people, he reminds me so much of Jay Cutler sometimes. I just can't even stand it how snarky he is. And he's not PR friendly, and he's not talent-wise. He buries Jay Cutler. Yes, we know this. But I find it interesting that there's not as many people screaming, at least not like the Bears fans were, for Aaron Rodgers. And I'm curious how he'll do outside of Green Bay. Not that he's, not a fantastic player, but the Green Bay press leave him be. Could you imagine plopping him in the middle of New York?
He's not going to go to New York, though.
But could it be?
He's going to go where he wants to go.
A little bit of fear of the Bears really thought Russell was coming and he didn't. So like nobody wants to get their hopes up that they could get Aaron Rodgers, and they don't even want to bid because they figure he's just throwing a hissy fit. And why should I even get involved in this? Because he's going to go back to Green Bay anyway. Right. So why even bother? I feel like that's a little bit of it.
Yeah, I agree. They're a little once bitten, twice shy. I get that for sure. Yeah. At the same time, I just don't get, and not that there were people screaming. I mean, there were a couple teams screaming for Russell. I just don't think Aaron Rodgers, his shtick that he has, because he has a very, shtick about what he does. I just don't know how that would play in other cities. And maybe they'll overlook it because of his talent, because he is immensely, insanely talented. And no, Josh Allen does not deserve to be ranked higher than him in a quarterback. No, that's a whole nother thing. But I do think that it's interesting that people really are just like, he's throwing another fit because that's what he does. So my question to you guys, I'm going to start with you, Lisa. Mm-hmm. Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay this season. Is he?
I think if the GM, Brian Gustav, I can't even say his name. I don't think he likes him. And I think the rumor goes farther than what we hear. I think I have heard rumblings that he pretty much told Green Bay that if he's still the GM, he won't play in Green Bay. So the Packers are going to have to make a decision whether they want their GM who, this guy doesn't have a ton of experience. It's not like he's been a GM in the NFL forever. Mm-hmm. So, do you give up on Aaron Rodgers because of them? I think the rift is honestly through with him. I don't think it has anything to do with anything else. I don't think, like you said, I think he is throwing a little tantrum. He's not happy with the way things are being run.
He made it to the NFC Championship game, and I get that he can't get past that game for some reason.
Yeah, but for some players, that's, he's won a Super Bowl. So he has a feeling of what could get him past there. The GM's not helping him out. He feels that the team should be going a different way. He's just, and I just don't know how you give up on an Aaron Rodgers because, like I said, the year that he had. So I truly think that if they don't get rid of the GM, I don't think he plays in Green Bay. But hang on, can I comment on the Russell Wilson thing for just a second?
No, I got to comment on Aaron Rodgers. We'll get back to that.
Russell Wilson could have put that fire out long before his agent took his little piece of paper and said, "We are not looking for a trade, but these are the teams that we would like to." Right then, he could have put that fire right out, and we'd have been done with it.
Right. At the same time, I think in his press conference, that one he did at OTAs, because the press hounded him about this.
I still think something was underlining. I think that
he said, he's like, well, I mean, you can't hurt to see what's out there. Fair. I mean,
something happened.
Next year, this could all happen all over again next year. And, this is why quarterbacks are divas, and I don't like them very much. Anyway, Sonja.
Yes.
Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay next year?
I think he will be in Green Bay next year. But I did have a discussion with somebody. I think it was Greg, honestly. Oops. But we were talking about the situation, and people are like, Aaron needs to be a professional. Aaron needs to do this, do what he wants. Aaron needs to just shut up and play. Okay, they really didn't say that. But how they're just quoting that he needs to be a professional and just come and play, right? Do his thing. But at the same time, if he really is unhappy, if he really doesn't want to be there anymore, what responsibility do the Packers organization have to say, okay, we're going to be a professional too. If you don't want to be here, skedaddle, scram, I mean, and I get it. I do get it. You don't want to lose somebody like Aaron Rodgers. You don't. But at the same time, if it's truly a marriage gone bad, then okay, let's go. Let's part ways. But I clearly think he's going to be there come the season. So it's really nothing. Just more grandstanding as usual.
Grandstanding.
Yeah, more pouting.
Quarterbacks don't grandstand. Stop.
Yeah, I know. Kate,
Okay.
the two other quarterbacks there are their first round pick from, was it last year? 2020 is kind of a blur for me. So they still have their first round pick. Is it Love, Lisa? Is that who's up there?
Love,
yeah.
yes.
Yep.
And Blake
Jordan
Bortles.
Blake Bortles. Yeah. Good old
So
Blake.
they have
I
a
still don't know why
security
they don't
blanket.
bottle Bortles and James and make a drink and sell it. I just, Dayna, I don't know what their plan B is. If Aaron doesn't come back, do you take a shot with Love? And it's because it's not Bortles. He's not a starter.
He's the number one pick in the NFL. You have to take a shot with him.
He's a clipboard Jesus. So are you ready to let Jordan Love go? I think, to sort of piggyback on what Sonja said, I think fans really don't want to listen to a multi-million-dollar quarterback whine about his situation. They just are not going to have sympathy for someone. He's not a lineman making league minimum.
Especially in a place like Green Bay.
Yeah, history.
But that begs the question, and I don't know the answer, and I don't know if any of us do. I don't understand how the Green Bay Packers work as opposed to all the other teams, because they're public owned shares. So do they have any kind of say in the general manager and firing him and getting rid of him or keeping him? Or I don't know if any of that is playing into these things. I just wish there wasn't so much of this gamesmanship going on. Again, to Sonja's point, if Aaron's not happy, he needs to just come out and say, you know what? I'm not happy in Green Bay. I would love to continue my career in the NFL and I would love to play for another team. I'm not happy here, and walk away from that and see what happens. But I never know if I can believe these guys. Are you just trying to get more money at home? Are you trying to get concessions? Are you trying to get some say in who they're drafting or in play calling and all of that kind of stuff? But
do you want a quarterback like that, though? Do you want a quarterback that'll dictate the direction of your team? And as another owner, would you want to try to get that quarterback on your team?
You know what? I don't think so, because I don't know that Tom Brady had that much control in New England. And it's hard to argue with the success that he had. And he wasn't given everything. He was given a lot, but I don't believe that he was given everything he wanted. And it's the problem with the NFL is, and we've seen this with a number of players over the years, you have a guy who's a problem in the locker room. He's mouthy to the coaches. He's not really trying or whatever, and they get rid of him, and someone else is more than happy to pick him up. So there's no lesson learned. Then the team that lost him gets raked over the coals for not making him happy, and he's off to play somewhere else. It doesn't, with the glaring exception of Colin Kaepernick, there were men in the league who assaulted women and got jobs, and so you know what I'm saying. Aside from that
there's always a team that'll take
someone else will take him. Whether he's a problem, I agree with you, Lisa. I wouldn't want him on my team, but maybe that's probably why I don't have a team, because I'm not willing to do anything to win games. I just wish, if somebody out there knows, let me know if the Green Bay Packers shareholders have any say or influence or any whatsoever control over hiring like the general manager and that kind of thing, because I would just be interested to know if that dynamic plays into his decisions.
It's interesting. Now Lisa would want us to talk about quarterbacks all day long, but we're going to move on. So yay. Another interesting topic that was so prevalent last year, and this was something that was talked about ad nauseum last year, and that was COVID and COVID testing and all of that.
Wow.
Obviously, that was because we did not have a vaccine. Lisa?
Yes.
The subject just keeps coming up again.
It does. And it's not going to die away. It's not going to die anytime soon.
No.
Because we've got
the virus itself, but I digress.
Exactly. And you're going to have and it's almost like, once again, we're divided. We have the players that are advocates for it. Then we have the players not so much, as of Buffalo Bills' Cole Beasley. He has been crazy on Twitter about
crazy is the perfect word.
It is about his stance on the vaccine.
I think it's the curling hair. It's curling inward and it's affecting his brain.
Exactly. And they are trying to make it safe. However, I even have my problems with some of the things they're doing. And I'll give you a couple examples on this year. Basically, if you're a player and you're fully vaccinated, you got some perks. Okay, I'm not going to lie. You know daily testing. If you're a player that doesn't have it, You get tested every single day. Okay. If a mask for a fully vaccinated player is not required at the club facilities, non-vaccinated player, masked every single time you step foot in that place. You also, if you come across somebody that has COVID, you're in quarantine, mandatory. Not so much if you're vaccinated. You can be in the weight room anytime you want, but if you come in and all your teammates and you're not vaccinated and there's more than 15 people in that weight room, you're not working out right now. Right. You have to wait. There's basically, you can use the sauna and the steam room. Absolutely cannot use the sauna and the steam room if you are not vaccinated. Right. The thing that got me on that is like, okay, they're just trying to do this to keep it down. Now we all can we could probably have hours discussions about the virus and being vaccinated against vaccinations, stuff like that. The one that got me is if a player during the course of the year that is not vaccinated becomes positive, the NFL and the Players Association, which is what has set Cole Beasley off a little bit, says that play cannot, the team has a right not to pay that player. I have a problem with that because it's like, I'm one of these ones. If you want to get the vaccine, that's great for you. If you don't, I'm okay with that too. I'm not one to force. It almost feels like the players that are not getting vaccinated are almost getting punished. So I kind of just wanted to get your feelings on that because I kind of feel like they are in a way.
Where do we start with
exactly? And that's what this is what people are like, oh, 2021, we're past that. We are far past this.
Right. No.
Well, there's that D.
We are not near past this.
The Delta variant. And now there's the Delta
variant.
And it's running amok down south. Thank you very much. And, where I work, you have the option to get the vaccine. And if you do, you get perks. I don't have to wear a mask at work. And I got a free vacation day. I got 8 hours of paid vacation time. But
I don't know.
If I get the Rona and I infect somebody at work, my business is not going to lose $100 million. And that is the estimate that each NFL team lost over $100 million last year due to fans not being there, income not coming, just the whole everything. If you don't want to get the vaccine, you don't have to, but there are still ways to wear a mask, to wash your hands, to disinfect, to not go to the clubs on the weekend, to not go out and keep yourself safe. If that's your choice to not get the vaccine, more power to you. But then you need to be safe and you need to make sure for the length of the season that you're not putting your team and your owner at risk by doing stupid things. And we saw guys last year when there was no vaccine that were missing the playoffs because somebody was out at a club. And so you have to use some common sense if you're going to make the choice to not do the vaccine.
So Sonja and I know we have a little bit different perspective on this. Yes. Sonja and I both work in healthcare.
Just a little bit.
So we and Lisa, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. And I agree. I do not think that if you truly have a reason that you do not want to get vaccinated that doesn't include politics, then I am 100% behind you. I am 100. If that is your choice.
Right.
But this is different. It's different for people who work in healthcare. It's different for certain people. And the difference is not just the money, although that is a huge part of it, but at your job, you don't line up inches away from someone else's face and breathe and grunt and spit and gross. Football players are gross, you guys. I mean, that's just what it is. And so I think
clearly you have not been to my office.
Oh, but maybe I need to come check out your office. What's happening? But the thing of it is that I just really feel like that the NFL is encouraging this because it can be devastating to the entire league. It's not just about you and where you work in this situation. people can argue with me all you want. I get it. If that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do. But
yeah, definitely.
But let me tell you this. I have a lot of respect for, there's a Seahawks player, DJ Reed. He has decided he still wants more information. I don't know more information you want, but whatever. That was all he said on it. Cole Beasley ran his mouth for days, and he deserved every bit of backlash that he got because he was just making it worse and worse and worse. And I'm not saying he's not allowed to have his opinion. Just don't argue with people on the internet. That's all I'm asking of you. Sonja, what do you, I know you and I think a lot alike, but what do you think on this?
We do. First of all, I would say it's 2021. Don't argue with people on the internet, strangers. If they don't pay your bills, don't worry about it. Anyways, that's me. But, it's kind of like school. It's like the kids at school. If you're not even regularly vaccinated, if there's an outbreak or whatever, they got to go home. If there's a measles or pertussis or something like that, they got to go home. They can't be around, and so it's the same. And COVID is pretty devastating, and it can be, and you don't even have to have symptoms for it to be devastating. I'm not going to go down that road, but if you don't want to have it, okay, fine. But understand you're going to have these extra consequences, extra things to do to protect everybody around you. And if that's not something that you can, live with or agree to, then it's time to have a discussion, and should they be paid? I think to go with Lisa, I think maybe they should be paid. Should they be paid the amount, their full amount? I don't know. Is it kind of like a maternity leave thing where you get 60% of your pay or something like that? Something like that. But I think
aren't there moral clauses in contracts?
See?
Aren't there morals clauses in contracts where if you violate it and you get suspended for a game by the team for conduct unbecoming, that you don't get paid for that game?
Fair.
So I feel like they're going to treat this the same way. They're going to assume that you violated whatever the code of conduct is by getting, being exposed and contracting it and then not get paid for however long it takes before you're healed and back. Dayna, you bring up an interesting point about the players on the field being this close to each other. They're in a workplace where bodily fluids will be exchanged as just part of the game, sweat and blood and whatever else. I don't know. I have 4 daughters and 3 have been vaccinated and 1 hasn't. And 1 got vaccinated because she believed in it. 1 didn't because she has very firm opinions on she just won't. Right. And the other 2 were just like, I don't have time. And then Joe's like, I'm making you an appointment. So he made him an appointment and they went. Like they didn't care. They didn't have a strong opinion one way or the other.
Right.
And I think that's where a whole lot of these players are falling in, is they don't really have an opinion one way or the other. They're just looking for something to just motivate them. If this is the reason where they're like, fine, I'll go do it. Maybe this is the reason that'll make them go do it, because they really don't have a strong belief to not do it.
I think this is just going to be one of those things that just kind of continues. And so we just have to see how it goes. I always like to say, though, this as someone who works in healthcare, congratulations, WNBA, for getting your shit together and having 90% vaccines, I think, between their coaches and their players. I think all players are actually vaccinated. I'm very impressed with that. So
the NFL
women are smarter than men.
The NFL, I was reading the stats, 43.5% of the players out of all 32 teams, 43.5% are vaccinated.
Wow, because there's some teams that even have 70 already.
There is one team that has 80%, but they failed to say who they were. The team in dead last of having players vaccinated is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm telling you,
Florida.
Thank you, Florida. Problem. You live in SEC country, Lisa. You need to be afraid.
I know. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to our next topic. So, kind of on the lines of, do whatever you want to do, sort of a thing. I'm dying to know, Sonja, when you decided to talk about this, did it start with the tennis player, or did Tom Brady's comment that he had later this week kick this off? Sonja wanted to talk to us about press conferences a little bit.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just here because they told me I had to be here.
I'm here because I get fined.
I know that's why you guys are all here, so that you really
We
don't
don't
want to
get
listen to me.
We
Just
don't
want
wanna
to
get
get fined.
Whatever.
I understand completely. But no, so the whole Naomi Osaka thing went down, and then the first thing I thought of was Ricky Williams. Like literally, that was the first thing that I thought of.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, he used to do those with the Shield,
Yep.
and I was like, so
Yep.
like that was for real. Like that was
All right,
a
what
thing.
did she
Like,
do for
that
those of us
was-
who have no idea what you're talking about?
Oh, okay. So, Naomi Osaka is a tennis player, and she was in the French Open, and she didn't want to do press conferences because they were really damaging to her mental health. Okay, I get it. And so at first the French Open fined her and said,
just so you know, Kate, they really hammered her in those press
Did
conferences.
they?
Why did you miss
I
that?
don't watch tennis or press conferences for tennis,
Yeah.
so I was not completely clueless.
And then actually when I started thinking about tennis press conferences, that's a whole nother thing altogether. But yeah,
Right.
so they gave her and a lot of other people like really just bad questions and stuff like that. And she's like, we're not going to take it. I'm not doing it. So she left. And then they fined her. And then she's like, that's great. You can fine me. I'm still not coming. And so then she withdrew and, started a hullabaloo about that. But a lot of reporters, a lot of like the Lions people were like, oh, this is a thing. Like, is this telling us to get our stuff together and start asking better questions and,
Yes.
really start? Yeah, I think so. I think it is starting to get reporters together and ask better questions and not stupid stuff. And then I thought about, talking to people after games, especially after a loss, and like,
in the locker room.
do we not
I
in the
hate
locker
that.
room? I do too. That's so irritating because it's like we need to give people like time and sometimes a lot of time before they say something stupid because I feel it sets them up in some cases, That's just me.
No,
That's
I agree.
my thought.
I agree. And
What do you guys think?
being in locker rooms, it's horrible after a loss. I hate it. I hated it. And it was just like, nobody wants to talk. No, they're all, because anybody who's played sports and been in that type of locker room team, you feel it. You do. I'm sorry, you do. I played. Yeah, you're pissed. I played, sports all through it. And just imagine somebody. One of the things I always remembered when I was a little kid was my dad used to race NASCAR and be around race car drivers and stuff. So it was always at the track. And it was the Daytona 500. And Bill Elliott was leading the race. I mean, this, it's a 500-mile race. And his engine blew with like one lap to go to win it. The first thing, and I'll never forget this, the first thing the reporter did, had the microphone. How you feeling, Bill?
Oh, let me tell you.
I couldn't even fathom that kind of a how you feeling,
Right?
Bill? Really? You couldn't come up with anything better than how you feeling, Bill? Oh, I had never heard so many beeps. Beep, 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 because you couldn't understand a word the guy said. So
I think that it just brings up a really good point that, back when Marshawn Lynch pulled they did his little things, was beast mode at the Super Bowl. And he's like, thank you very much for asking. I'm just here so I won't get fined. And that it became a meme and everyone was talking about it. And it was unheard of at that point. But really it had happened in the past. It just wasn't so public. Right?
Exactly.
And I think that then I was reading this offseason that last season, the players were so happy that they did not have to face those reporters in that locker room right after a match. And I think that sometimes it's twofold. One, yes, they got to own up to their loss. They do. And they need to answer those questions.
You do.
Make them worthwhile. Make them decent questions.
How you feeling?
Yeah. It's like, tell me what happened on that play where you dropped the damn ball. I dropped the damn ball. Like, what do you want me to say? You know what I mean? And then I think it was interesting. I think there was some validity given to it this week because, God forbid, a quarterback said it. Tom Brady says that he couldn't wait to pull a Marshawn Lynch and just say, I'm just here because I don't want to be fined. Well, Brady's the poster child, right? And if Brady is starting to say that he's over it, I'm wondering if there'll be changes. And then remember, they were saying for a minute there that the reporters weren't going to be let back in the locker room again this year. And the reporters online had a meltdown. And they're like, this is the only way you hear from some of those players who don't get a lot of airtime. I agree. But whose fault is that? Is that the team's fault?
No.
Is that the press's fault?
No.
I feel like after COVID, there will be a shift of some sort. And I don't know what it'll be, but I think it will be in the players' favor to a certain extent.
I will tell you, like Lisa, I've been in the Browns locker room. I've been in the Indians locker room and at batting practice and, and after games. And between that and then the COVID Zoom interviewing.
Oh, yeah.
I get so much more content out of the Zoom interviewing because it's a limited time. People are asking relevant questions. I get transcripts of all the questions and answers, so I'm not scribbling like a maniac while I'm standing in the locker room.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The first time I was in the Browns locker room after a game, it wasn't the first time. Anyway, I was incredibly uncomfortable, and it wasn't because there's a bunch of guys walking around in towels. It's because there's a bunch of guys who just got out of the shower. They're walking around in towels, and there are all of these media people just standing there watching them and waiting until they get the signal that they can actually go up to them and talk to them. It just felt creepy. I'm like, why are we even in here if none of them are ready to talk to us? Why wouldn't you let them get dressed in the locker room and then have them funneled to a green room place where the media can be waiting when they're dressed? It gives them 10, 20 minutes, however long they need to do their hair and get dressed and calm down. And I don't need a soundbite bad enough. I don't want to be the reporter that gets the quote from the guy who just blows up after a loss and says that thing that he's going to wish he hadn't said for the
right.
And that's the other thing. It sets them up.
Exactly. Why do that? I would like to see some kind of a mix of the two. I
find it interesting.
Move to a different space. Get everybody out of that locker room. I don't need to be in there.
But these everyday beat reporters were adamant that they get some of their truest and most real quotes and interviews from these people at that moment. I get it. I get that you don't want canned answers. You don't want, someone who's had 20 minutes to figure out how they're going to spin something. I understand all that. At the same time, I think that there should be a way for a player or whoever to say, this isn't the week. I'll talk to you next week. And out they go. They need a hall pass every couple. You know what I mean?
Yes, they do. Yes, they do.
Hall pass.
Give them 3 strikes. Give them 3 strikes. You get 3 of these. You get 3 yellow cards. And you're having a bad week. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna use one of my yellow cards this week. I got 2 to save. I'll do next week.
Brady reminds me of something we always joke about at work. You get close to retirement age, and when you're working every day, sort of like when the 2 weeks you're going to retire and be out of there, you want to say everything that you've been wanting to say. I feel like Brady's kind of getting there. I feel like he's just like, you know what? I did this for some. You know what? I know I'm gonna be retired in a couple years. That's it. I'm gonna start saying something.
That's the dream we all have of winning the lottery. We all go back to work one more time.
That last week I work, I'm gonna say exactly what I think. And honestly, have you not seen the change since he's been in Tampa? I mean,
but I think that has more to do with Belichick than I think that it does with Tom Brady. Yeah, I think Arians is like, screw it, say whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, you want, and he's finally free to say what he wants to say.
Yeah. And it hurts me to say this a little bit. Hurts me, but I kind of like him a little bit better. I don't like him, but I like him a little bit better because I get that there's a personality and he's not a robot. I'm down with that.
Yeah, I think he does. I think that
definitely has a personality.
He does. He dropped the F word the other day. Go, buddy, go.
Lord, the guy's calling people out. Already said the F word.
I think we could hang, Tom and I. I think Tom and I could hang.
Oh,
I'd hang him.
Insufferable at that point. No,
I mean, he drinks.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, he drinks. Throw shit.
Yeah, Lisa start throwing Lombardi around. So we will be here every Tuesday night. We go live at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and then you will not forget because it's revving up. There's
fun
everywhere now.
This
It's
was
going
fun.
to be fun, guys.
It is going to be a lot of
This
fun.
was
Next
fun.
week, we are very excited. We have a very special guest next week
Yes.
that's going to be joining us. Gina Kelly is going to be joining us from SB Nation. I cannot wait to chat with her. That is going to be
I'm grilling her, buddy. Woo,
I
we
know.
go.
We have
Go.
Now, remember
Yeah.
what we just talked about.
We
Lisa.
did.
That's
She's
true.
gonna want a hall pass on her very first time.
All right. So don't ask her how she's feeling.
No,
I shouldn't ask
her
we're
how
not
she's
lead off with that.
That's hilarious. Here's the thing, though, you guys. We are going to be having special guests all throughout the next few weeks until we hit to training camp. And then we are going to go ahead and go through every single division, the good, the bad, the ugly. And the Tuesday before the season starts, what happens? The most famous Our Turf show we do every year. It is the Pick'em show. And we get into awful nasty arguments, and it's so much fun.
I think I've won the last couple years.
I'm picking the Browns. Spoiler alert.
Lisa, not what? Yeah, you win like you win in fantasy football, Lisa.
This is my year. This is my year. This is it. I'm done playing with y'all. I'm done. I think you've learned enough.
Okay.
It's coming.
Okay.
Every year.
Okay, Lisa.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again next Tuesday on the Our Turf Football Podcast. Good night, everybody.
Bye, y'all.